looking at old US 22, which is Market Street, Blairsville, from about 1921 until about 1953. This was the main US route that came through. Today you're going to see the reason why it had to be bypassed. It started actually on St. Patrick's Day 1936 when Pittsburgh had its worst flood in its history, and after that occurred there was a huge outcry to create flood control. In around the late 40s, early 50s, here in Blairsville, there were several towns, the names of Cokeville, Bairdstown, Fenimore, and Livermore, important towns for the coke oven industry, as well as the Pennsylvania railroad towns. What happened was they were all covered over by this raging flood. It's now almost St. Patrick's Day 2010, and I'm going to show you what they had to deal with. As you're heading west on Old Route 22, you come to the Market Street Bridge that was built around 1926-27. And what we have is a rare sight that occurs maybe once every 15 years or so, when we have tremendous snowfall in the winter, and February 2010 was the snowiest month on record in western Pennsylvania. And inevitably what happens is the snowpack melts, and what you have is floods. Now the difference between 1936 and today is that this is actually a controlled flood. They plan for it, they expect it, and what's happening here is about 2 to 3 miles downstream is the Conemaugh Dam that was built in 1950. Once that occurred, these towns had to be moved away. So Cokeville, Bairdstown, Fenimore, and Livermore are no more. Very historical in nature. But you can see that the water is clear over the road, and I have some still pictures here that probably show that normally the water is at least 20 or 25 feet below where it is right now. All of this really answers the question as to why everything had to happen the way it did. And if you look at some of my other videos, Cokeville, West Penn Bike Trail, on the West Penn Bike Trail you see the famous stone arch bridges that were built around 1907, just beautiful things. At least 2 of those would be underwater today. Cokeville is actually about a mile down this river. This is the Conemaugh River, and if you look at my Cokeville videos, you'll see the bridge piers that are left. They would be completely underwater at this point in time. As I said, this water is very calm, but it was this high and raging, so you can imagine how terrible it was for people. But this is where it was the source of why the Pittsburgh flood of 1936 occurred. And the town of Blairsville is probably 30-35 miles away from Pittsburgh, so this is where the flood control had to begin to protect Pittsburgh down the road. And of course you had a series of locks and dams as well that were built. But this is a pretty amazing sight. The last time this occurred was in April of 1994, which was 1 month after the St. Patrick's Day snowstorm, which was the second worst on record in western Pennsylvania. So as I say, this is a very predictable event, but fascinating nevertheless. I don't believe the water was this high last time. You can see it's up over the guardrails. And inevitably, the other problem is all of this debris that pushes up against the bridge. And Corps of Engineers will probably have to clear out a lot of that as this recedes. I believe that this is the crest of the flood today, March 14th, 2010. The US 22 was bypassed in 1953, and the current bridge, which you can't see, is downriver just a little bit, and it's of course much higher, and it had to be for this purpose. So check out West Penn Bike Trails, Abandoned Road to Cokeville, and some of the other various Cokeville videos so you understand why those towns had to disappear.